Are you a landlord looking to find the highest qualified tenant for your rental property? If that's the case, then you've come to the right place, because today we're going to talk about how to properly do a tenant background check. Now, what is a tenant background check? This is just simply the process of assessing whether or not a tenant is going to be a great fit for your particular rental unit. And that's typically based on a couple things: eviction/rental history, credit and income history, and then also criminal history as well. Now, why is tenant screening important? A rental property is a investment at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you have the highest probability of keeping that income coming into the property so that you can fund your expenses, your mortgage, your taxes, insurance, all that stuff, and then you have the cash flow that's left over at the end of the day. Properly doing the tenant background check is going to ensure that the tenant has good credit, good income, and a good rental history. And again, it's going to increase the probability of keeping that income coming into your pocket every month. Now, there is a million different ways to do a tenant background check, but we're going to talk about just a simple 6-step process on how we do our background checks here. Step number 1 is going to be collect the information and get written consent to run the background check. Very important. On the information side, you're going to need basic things like name, date of birth, social, all that good stuff. And then you're going to need the consent in writing so that the applicant understands and acknowledges the fact that you're going to be running these different checks. Step number 2 is going to be run a credit check. Now, there's 3 major bureaus, credit bureaus, and there's a million different softwares that kind of tie into these different credit bureaus, but you're definitely going to want to run a credit check. Credit is very tough to build. It takes a long time to build it, and it's pretty easy to destroy it. So you want to make sure that they have a solid credit score, and you can tell over the length of their credit history that they've been paying their bills and really keeping up with their financial health. Step number 3 is going to be verify rental history. Now, a lot of landlords overlook this process or this step, but it's extremely important. If you're going to rent somebody your unit, you want to make sure that the last unit they lived in, or the last couple, they paid their rent, they paid it on time, and they took care of the property. Now, step number 4 is conduct a criminal background check. Again, you want to know who's going to be renting your unit. However, in Chicago and Cook County, the law is a little bit different. So you actually have to give a yay or nay decision based on income and credit before you can proceed with the criminal background check. So wherever you're at, make sure that you are familiar with your local and federal laws. And then if you have any questions, definitely consult your attorney. Now, step number 5 is to verify employment and income data. You typically are going to want to call their employer, just make sure that they're still employed, and then also review bank statements just to make sure that the pay stubs that they submitted are also verified by the deposits coming into their bank account. So if they say they're making $5,000 a month, you should see $5,000 per month deposited into their bank account. Again, there's a lot of different softwares that can do this for you, which we're going to talk about in a second. And then the last step is professional and personal references. A lot of people skip this, and I'm kind of on the fence about it because typically what you see is applicants are going to put their friends and family and their closest colleagues. So everyone has a ton of nice things to say about this person. But depending on the questions you ask and the conversations you have, you never know what you're going to uncover. All right, now, tenant background check in Chicago is a little different. I highly recommend that you familiarize yourself with the RLTO, which is the ordinance that governs the relationship between the tenant and the landlord. And then also, there's 2 things that are specific to tenant screening, and that is going to be the Chicago Fair Housing Ordinance, and that is going to prohibit you from discriminating from race, color, sex, religion, national origin, disability, familial status, and sexual orientation. A lot of things. So at the end of the day, just don't discriminate and you'll be just fine. The next thing is the Just Housing Ordinance, which covers all of Cook County. And what that does is it protects people from being discriminated against their criminal past. So again, that's why I alluded to this earlier. You have to give the yay or nay based on the income and credit, and then at that point you can run the criminal background check. So if the applicant is denied, at that point they'll know why they're denied. All right, now analyzing the results here is very important, and the key to that is consistency. You want to make sure you are consistently looking at all of the applications the same to prevent any kind of discrimination. Now, what we did a few years ago is we built out a matrix on a spreadsheet, and basically we have all of our rental criteria, and then all of their data gets put into that spreadsheet, and it just gives them a general score. Now, I like that because it's pretty much impossible to discriminate at that point. We don't even know how old they are, what race they are, what age they are. It's just, credit score, length of, the last tenancy they had. All of these things go on there, and we just get a score. And if the score meets the criteria, then they're approved. If not, they're denied. So very cut and dry. And if we were ever accused of discrimination, we could provide this as evidence as part of our process and say, hey, listen, like we look at every single applicant the same, and here's how we do it. Second thing is consider the whole picture. There's a lot of different criteria, so don't get hung up on any one criteria. And then also, like a collection, for example, was the collection from 6 months ago or 6 years ago? Because 6 years ago, the applicant might have been going through a rough patch and might be in a totally different place financially now. And then the last thing is fair housing laws. Again, I can't stress it enough, just be familiar with your local and federal housing laws. Last thing is just the online tenant screening tools that are out there. It's 2025, so there's a million different tech tools out there that we highly recommend you jumping in and testing them out. There's a couple that we recommend. Number one is Rent Application. This is rentapplication.co. It is a very simple to use, very easy, no frills, kind of perfect for the DIY landlord, and it's very affordable. So check that out. It's Rent Application. The second one is Zillow Rent Manager. Of course, everybody's heard of Zillow. It's a very reputable brand, and you get the results here in a few minutes. So good stuff. And then the last thing is Verifast. We use Verifast. We love Verifast. It is a very comprehensive check. In fact, they have a lot of technology involved. They have AI on the back end that is like screening for fraud. So really good stuff, but it is definitely on the expensive side as far as the background check screening tools go. All right, bottom line is doing a thorough and comprehensive background check for your rental property is absolutely crucial. It is some of the best time and energy spent on your rental property, because if you're going to create that relationship, you're going to sign a lease. Like, you definitely want to go into that with the highest probability that person is going to work out. So if you have any questions on any of this or need any help, feel free to reach out to us. You can use Landmark Property Management as a resource. We're always happy to help. You can check us out on the website at chicagospropertymanagement.com. That's Chicago's with an S, chicagospropertymanagement.com, or give us a call. Thank you.